everyone, Tasha here. Today I'm going to walk you through the 5 different types of posts that are proven to increase engagement. And I have a cheat sheet of them for you here. It has like the type of post, the explanation, and then an example of each. So if you want this, you can go ahead and comment notes. Next week, we're going to be doing our What to Say on Social Media challenge, which is always really well received and really, really fun. If you'd like to get an invitation to that challenge, go ahead and type challenge here. And I'm going to jump into the 5 types of posts that will literally change your life. We get screenshots over and over and over again during the challenge where Facebook actually sends people who are participating in our free challenge a notification that says, your content is getting more engagement than the average person. We're going to increase your distribution. And so I'm going to walk through these 5 types of posts and why they work so well. Now, I learned this from my coach, Heather Prestansky, who learned it from her coach, Kevin Hutto. And I'm going to teach it to you now today. And you can teach it to other people so that we can all make social media the type of place that we want to be instead of the type of place that we try to avoid. So here we go. I'm going to walk through the 5 types of posts. The first type of post is called an engagement post. And that is like a quick question, a short answer. It's those posts that are like, fill in the blank. My favorite blank is, this thing, or, a debate post like this or that. Like they're just fun, light posts. An engagement post is also like the ones that are like, you can only pick 3 of these things and you're on a desert island. So they're just like fun posts where you can share your opinion, your advice, something about yourself, and people really like those and they're really, really light. So that's the first kind, is an engagement post. The second kind of post is a story post, and this is a behind the scenes story about what's going on. And so I might tell like an origin story, which is like the first time I ever did something. People love origin stories. We can talk about how we've overcome an obstacle. We can share a story that shows our vulnerability. We can share a story about something that's going really well. We can do a behind the scenes of something. So like I could do a story post about like why I keep, motivational quotes above my desk, right? Like that would be a behind the scenes story post. The third type of post, let me just flip through my notes here. By the way, if you guys want, again, right, like if you want this, just go ahead and write notes below. The third is a value post, and this is like, think the helpful Honda dealer. So this is something that adds value to people's lives. So it might be a recommendation. It might be like something like a teaching thing. So like this video that you're watching right now in this meta moment, this is a value post where I'm explaining things. A value post could also be like explaining a mindset shift. So anything that brings value to the person who consumes it. It's the third type of post. The fourth type of post is an action post. And this is an invitation to whatever the next step is. So we use hand raisers that's like, if you want this script, comment this below. They're also called yes ladders. People do yes and yes and yes, and then more people see that post. And then we know they're interested in the thing. And then the fifth type of post is a social proof post or a testimonial post or a success story post. They're all kind of wrapped up in the same thing. Maybe we could just call it a proof post. And this could be us celebrating a milestone. This could be us sharing a client's testimonial. So if I, wrote a post talking about our client Liz, who enrolled 2 people during the social media challenge, that would be a proof post. Or if I talk about the fact that we had 5 people sign up for one-on-one coaching out of our group program this week, that would be proof. So, that things are working, right? Things are working the way they're supposed to be working. That's a proof post. And we want to rotate through the 5 different types of posts. And the way I want you to think about it is like you're at a dinner party. So when you're at a dinner party, you don't take like this thing here. Coming back, don't worry. You don't take a quote and put it in front of your face and you're like, try to talk to people, right? This isn't quote book. This is Facebook. Like when you go and talk to people, like when you're at a dinner party, you're like, you smile at them, you show your face, you're like, it's nice to meet you. You do a little small talk. And social media is more like a dinner party. So it's not a place where we're going to like advertise our stuff like e-commerce. It's not a storefront, it's a dinner party. And so if you think about the way we behave at a dinner party, we actually do a mix of engagement, story, value, invitations, and proof. And so in any, like think about a birthday cake, right? If someone's like, who wants a birthday cake? Raise your hand, right? That's like an invitation. That would be a call to action post, right? That's how we communicate. Engagement's like, hey, who here has ever tried whatever, right? People are like, oh, I have, it's good. Come here, like, when was the last time you came here? Right? That is basically an engagement question, right? It's like small things that make it easy to start conversations. Now, if I end up in a deeper conversation with someone, I might tell them a story like, oh yeah, the other day I blah, 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 right? Or maybe I'm at a dinner party, there's a chocolate fountain. I'm like, oh, I had a chocolate fountain when I had a Halloween party in my 20s and it was really cool, right? So I might tell a story. And what the story does is it creates relatability. And then that person might be like, oh, well, where'd you get the chocolate fountain? And I might tell them, and now that's a value post, right? Or they might be sharing with me a story where they're having a problem, and I might be like, oh, my friend so and so, she actually used this other person and got really, really good results, and maybe you should try that too. And that would be proof. And so, as humans, communication is communication. And I think that what a lot of people struggle, we've been coaching on social media for 7 years, and what people struggle with is it feels like a foreign language to them. And there's an element of that. I think it's more like a different dialect. Like I speak Southern English. If I went to Australia or if I went to the UK or even when I was in Canada last week or the week before, or however long that's been, there were words I didn't really understand, but I could get by okay. We need to act more like we are, like how we communicate in person on social media, and that's going to help out a lot. Now, all of us have a certain type of post that we gravitate towards, either from an engagement perspective, like what are the things I like to engage with, and from a creation perspective, what do I want to create? So for me, I like to create engagement posts. I'm naturally curious. If I'm doing something like, oh, I wonder what the internet thinks about this, I'll do an engagement post. Like I like to do engagement posts. So I need to challenge myself to do something that's more substantial. When I'm actually going through social media, I prefer read stories. I don't really watch a ton of video, although right now my platform of choice is YouTube, so I guess that's not really true. But like when I'm scrolling through Facebook, I typically don't watch a ton of video on Facebook. I like to read stuff. And so there are different types of posts for different types of people. And that's why I want to have a well-rounded social media strategy. Now, when we only have one type of communication, we also just don't really connect. So imagine you're at this dinner party and there's this one guy that just keeps shouting out, have you tried this cheese? Do you like beaches or mountains? What do you like? Just like there's no substance there, right? So we tend to gravitate towards creating the types of posts we like to consume, usually, or we have a type. But what happens is you'll end up like just not really connecting. So if all we do is we do engagement posts, we are going to come across as shallow. If all we do are story posts, we're going to come across as narcissistic. If all we do are value posts, we're going to come across as a know-it-all. If all we do are action posts or call to actions, we are going to come across as salesy. And if all we do are proof posts, well, no one's going to see anything because engagement, like there's nothing to engage with on a proof post. They might congratulate you if it's your proof. But for other people, like we want to put those things out there, but they're just not going to comment on it a lot. And so if all you do are proof posts, and I remember some business models were teaching just like do proof all day, and it's like then their engagement dropped because no one is reading anything. They're not engaging with the quick questions. They're not watching the video and being educated or learning new stuff or connecting on a personal level. And so you can't connect on a personal level with a proof post. You have to have a story post, or you have to have a value post or an engagement post. And so we want to use a well-rounded strategy. And if we rotate through those types of posts, instead of just being one of those things, we end up being curious, relatable, helpful, inclusive and credible. And that is how we want to show up on social media. So it's not just about like, am I going to show up? It's actually about rotating through the post. Now, you might be hearing this and you're like, well, that sounds really hard. But it's not that hard because two of the posts are one sentence, right? The engagement post is usually a quick question, and the call to action is also a quick question. And so really, out of every 5 posts, the story post and the value post, those tend to take the most effort. But those are also the ones where we create the most connection and the most you get me and the most I like this person. And so they're super important for our social media strategy. And when we're intentional with it, it makes a big difference. Now, if you like what I'm talking about today, you're going to love this last thing that I'm going to tell you. We have not had to change the core of our social media strategy on Facebook in 7 years. This 5-post strategy has consistently outperformed our clients before they come in, like their before and after. This is consistently outperformed. It's not based on trends, so it's not like, oh, you got to do this one thing in order to get more engagement or cool or anything like that. It's because it's based on behavioral psychology. Now, one of the things that you might have noticed is I didn't talk much about stories, like the actual little 24-hour things, or reels, which are features that have been introduced. And I'll just talk about them real quick. The 5-post strategy is your foundation. That's your newsfeed, right? And then on top of that, you can add in stories and you can add in reels. But what we have found is we have been able, so online we've sold over the past 10 years almost like $5.5 million, right? So we've been able to do pretty well. We use a bunch of different lead generation techniques. Our social media strategy just continues to crush year after year because it's based on human connection. Of course, there are more people on social media now promoting their businesses, so that impacts it. But we always see an increase in engagement when our clients use the 5-post strategy. So I really, really want to encourage you to give it a shot. If you guys need this handout so that you have the 5 types of posts and an example of each, just go ahead and type notes and we'll send that over to you. And if you would like to join our next challenge, the What to Say on Social Media Challenge, we're basically going to take, 5 big concepts of social media. We'll do engagement posts on day 1. We'll do what I call proof of work posts on day 2. We'll cover messenger, we'll cover value posts, and we'll cover hand raisers. And so we're going to walk you through step by step how to write these posts, how to get more engagement. And it's always really, really fun. So you can just type challenge in the comments below and we'll make sure to get that out to you. So I hope you guys are all having an awesome day and I hope to see you at the challenge next week. All right, bye.